Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. This is going to be the last episode with the Trick Room team that we featured for the last two episodes, of course with the Azumarill and the Marowak. Once again, thank you to Federico for providing this team. If you want to check him out, he's linked in the description below, as well as a paste for this team and a rental code. I know a lot of people were asking about that in the last episode. Rental code is, of course, on the screen as well as in the description below. So I think the goal really is to cycle through teams probably every 2 to 3 episodes. I think 3 is a good amount because you get to see pretty much all of the modes of the team featured, as well as, you know, see a bunch of wins and losses. You can see not only how to play with the team, but also deal with it if you're going up against it. So I would love any feedback on that. I mean, that's what we've typically done on Road to Rank, and, you know, I did 2 for the beat up team, and today we're doing a 3rd episode with this team specifically. This is our 5th episode since, you know, starting Series 5. So would love any feedback, whether you want 2 episodes, 3 episodes with the team, or maybe even more. Let me know in the comments below. Either way, though, I appreciate everyone for coming out and tuning into the content, whether you're older or a newer viewer. I know a lot of people have been tuning in, especially recently, because it feels like kind of like a brand new format of VGC. So just wanted to express my gratitude for everyone coming out and watching the videos, especially if you're a new subscriber, welcome, and to all those that are returning, it's good to have you all back as well. So let's just get started with today's episode. Question of the day: I am curious what you are currently enjoying playing with and what your favorite Pokemon to play with is. It could be something, you know, very standard, for example, like Rillaboom, or as you see, our opponent has a lot of crazy stuff here. I'm really excited to go up against this team. There's a Porygon Z, a Skarmory, a Accelgor, and a Palossand. So if you guys don't know, what Palossand does is you basically lead Accelgor. Palossand has an ability that increases its, I believe, its defense. You give it a weakness policy, and then Accelgor is basically able to proc its ability multiple times while also activating weakness policy. You've also just got really strong, Porygon Z with double redirection in Togekiss and the ADD, so it's just able to go for really powerful max strikes. So this is pretty scary. However, I don't see a great counter to at least Trick Room, right? If we get Trick Room up, at least like a Hat and ADD can put in some work. I think because the only great Psychic Resist on my opponent's team is that Skarmory, I think we have to bring the Marowak, to be honest. And then it's a question of Azumarill, Rillaboom, or Porygon. I still like Azumarill here, honestly, especially with Steel Roller. I mean, it's able to really dunk on the Togekiss. Liquidation just does so much damage across the board. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the standard here. You could make a pretty good argument for both Porygon and Rillaboom, but I don't like Rillaboom that much when there's a Togekiss and a Skarmory, and then Porygon, like, just doesn't do very much damage. So, yeah. So we're going to jump into this first episode. As always, if you guys enjoy, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the recent videos, because I personally have had a lot of fun playing Series 5. And yeah, it just makes me happy to see so many people come out and watch these videos. So seriously, thank you guys so much. And yeah, looking forward to just featuring more cool teams and playing more cool games. All right, it is going to be a Accelgor and the Palossand. So, I mean, like, the easy way to get around the Accelgor is just to go for a follow me turn 1, right? I think that's really pretty safe. I just really don't want Palossand boosted up. Like, that's what scares me the most. And even if Palossand, like, Palossand's a pretty slow Pokemon, right? So, like, that's scary, but I think I still feel okay going for follow me here. Of course, you might just go for, like, Bug Buzz if you have it on the Accelgor, even Final Gambit. But the main thing here is that I really did not want Palossand boosted up in this game. Alright, they're going to keep it to Dynamax, so coming out from Palossand, I'm sure. I don't think I mind to see that too much, though, right? Because, like, now I can get a free switch in into, like, the Azumarill, for example, max Azumarill, and just, like, max Water into Palossand. Although I guess that would actually activate weakness policy. Could even considering maxing Hat this next turn, depending on how this turn plays out. So let's see. It's funny, though, because I got destroyed by Palossand, I believe, in, like, one of the first episodes of Road to Rank back in 2017. And a lot of people actually ask me, it's actually going to be Struggle Bug. Okay, interesting. That's very cool to see. Yeah, a lot of people ask me basically what my opinion is on Palossand, and, like, I don't know if I have, like, a great opinion on it quite yet, so this will be able to shape maybe some of it as Max Quake comes out as well. So this thing's pretty boosted up. I mean, it gets the Spadef boost immediately while also lowering Hat's special attack. But I get Trick Room up, and I get a free switch in into Azumarill, so I feel like it's still fine. Not that worried. Azumarill's still going to hurt a lot. Yeah. And, like, with Marowak in the back, Marowak is a very good late game mon. Again, I think pretty much against everything my opponent could bring. But Spadef boost plus special attack drop is pretty scary. That being said, I think I still have to go for the follow me play. Either way, though, very excited to see this combination, and Struggle Bug was actually probably like my opponent's best option. I could actually protect the hat here, which might make some sense. Yeah, we can protect Max and just go for Max Geyser into Palossand. I guess the only problem is if that doesn't KO and we activate a weakness policy. I'm kind of worried about that, but I feel like it should KO, right? The fear of not KOing is actually really scaring me. I don't know my Palossand calcs very well here, honestly. Alright, well, let's find out if Azumarill is strong enough. So, we're going to protect Max Geyser here and see how it goes. Now, Palossands on these teams are pretty much always going to have weakness policy. Because you want to pair it with the Accelgor specifically. So we're going to give it a defense boost as well. But the main thing is that it doesn't get the defense boosts beforehand. Because if I don't lead NDD there, you can just freely get Palossand set up immediately on turn 1. So I was pretty much forced to lead Hatterene to even have a chance to counter those, basically. Okay, so Hatterene's going to protect. Oh, wow, I didn't realize that as priority? Okay, I had no idea. Wait, I really had no idea that had priority, and so that completely destroys my entire game plan in this matchup. Well, I'm assuming it's priority at least. Yeah, priority of 1. He's gonna get the Max Quake off. There, it goes into Hat at least. That, I have to say, yeah, is you guys got to see me learn this lesson live. That's super funny. At least Azumarill doesn't go down here, which is good, but I should have known that too. I really should have. And that takes it like an absolute champ now. Yeah, today we learned a lesson. That's really cool, and that's a really nice way to counter Hat NGD as well, specifically based off like what my opponent led with. So instead, I mean, we do outspeed with Hat, right? But this thing is 2 Spadef boosts, so I think conserving Hat is actually the way to go here. Although it makes this endgame really dicey, but I like what we do here is actually switch out the Hatterene into Marowak. I could have just maxed the Hatterene then. Yeah, the main reason is because like Expanding Force isn't doing very much right now with the. I guess you're just going to get a 3rd boost off, though, right? I don't know. I mean, there's still 3 turns of Trick Room. Yeah, I think we actually have to switch out here. We go into Marowak, sacrifice the Marowak, bring Hatterene back in, and then go from there. Because this is Palossand's last turn of Max. Yeah, I'm going to Steel Spike the Accelgor. Because the Hatterene will outspeed the Palossand. That was a perfectly played first 2 turns, I think, like... A very definitive game plan. Yeah, I totally just forgot about the priority. Okay, so they're going to actually target us, which is fine. Breaks potential Sash. Although, I mean, it's actually not much about value there. Actually, this ends up working out pretty nicely because we get Marowak in safely, too. Although, without priority, this is still kind of tricky, right? Because the Palossand outspeeds us right now, which makes this just a really awkward interaction. And I can't protect with the Azumarill either. Yep, and it's Sash Accelgor, which isn't shocking to see. Yeah, what's really awkward now is I can't even Poltergeist into Palossand. And this thing's got a multiple Spadef boost. Actually, I mean, Max Geyser probably still KOs, and I don't know if the Palossand KOs Azumarill right now, because we are maxed. So, like, I'm leaning towards just protecting here with Marowak and going for Geyser into Palossand. Yeah. Because Rain is up now, and Max is over. So, the question is basically whether Palossand can one-shot us. I don't think so, but I did not know that Water Shuriken got that priority of +1. So, I'm glad I at least got to capture that lesson live for all of you guys. So, yeah, really cool to see the Struggle Bug focus Sash on Accelgor. Like, I think that makes a ton of sense. Struggle Bug specifically is so smart against Hatterene and NDD, so... I don't know what my best answer against this, honestly, was. Perhaps, like, now that I know my opponent had Struggle Bug with Azumarill, or sorry, with the Accelgor, I think it would have been to, like, leave Hatterene in the back and then just bring it in afterwards. Oh, they're actually even going to commit Earth Power into Marowak, so I actually think we're in a fine spot now. Like, I think Max Geyser picks up the KO here, now that Max is over. Yeah, nice, okay. So despite Palossand being at +6 defense, we still are able to knock it out, but that was a lot scarier than it needed to be. And it's just going to be Acid Spray. Okay. Which we survive. Okay. So, Acid Spray, Struggle Bug, Water Shuriken. Curious what the last attack is. I was thinking Bug Buzz, but yeah, Accelgor is a Pokemon that we don't see too often in VGC, and it's like specifically used for a strategy like this. Okay. However, getting rid of the Sandcastle is very valuable. I need to watch over that Road to Rank from 2017 and see how that one went, because I don't really remember, and I feel like it might have been like a similar scenario. What's interesting is my opponent bringing out the Indeedee, right? Because like now we have full speed control. I'm not even sure Accelgor has Protect. There is only one more turn of Trick Room left, which is pretty scary, but on that note, there's only one turn of Psychic Terrain as well. Liquidation should just destroy either of these Pokemon. Flare Blitz is the safest option just to not miss. I mean, Poltergeist isn't working on the Indeedee anyway, so like I think it's fine to Flare Blitz Accelgor and go for a Liquidation here onto the Indeedee. Because we know Indeedee isn't going to be sashed here because Accelgor has already revealed the sash. I guess I'm just worried about Indeedee protecting, but then your terrain expires. So what my opponent could do if you want to conserve the terrain on Indeedee, which would actually be a really smart play, I think, is maybe switch Indeedee out and then back in. But it's actually going to be Accelgor switching out. And it's Skarmory. I mean, that's why I brought the Marowak in the first place. Okay, Indeedee does protect, though. However, that means my opponent no longer has terrain. That being said, a double up probably would have just won us the game here. I don't think Flare Blitz is one-shotting with rain being up, unfortunately. It's a bulky Skarmory. Yep. It really should have doubled up there. I think the Indeedee Protect was relatively obvious, and I don't think Accelgor pretty much ever carries Protect. So I should have doubled up to cover the switch out. Alright. On the bright side, terrain is gone. But Azumarill is so low right now. I have Aqua Jet though, right? I have priority Aqua Jet, and I'm going to beat the Skarmory with the... Okay, let's see. Hat's around half. If we just KO Indeedee, we should win the game. Because Aqua Jet's obviously just going to KO... Oh, we won't have Aqua Jet anymore, I guess. That makes it tricky too. I don't think you follow me here. I think the Indeedee goes for Expanding Force. So I could switch Azumarill out to basically chip away at the Indeedee and then put that hopefully in KO range. Because what I want to do right now is Boomerang into it. Might be better just to attack here. I really should have doubled up until a Skarmory switch in. That was my mistake. I guess my opponent could even consider switching Indeedee out and back in, which I actually think would win them the game, but they stay in, which is maybe better for us here. Wait, that is so much damage from Aqua Jet though. Okay, it's an Expanding Force into Marowak. Is it a double up into that? He's got Iron Defense. Oh boy. I guess I shouldn't be super surprised by that. But now this begs the question, how do we actually deal with the Skarmory? And the other question, I guess, is can the Skarmory actually one-shot the Marowak right now? Because I don't think so. But it surely has Iron Defense, Roost, maybe a Steel-type attack, and Body Press? I don't know if it even has Body Press. It was my first time facing Skarmory in this format. Either way, this is definitely one of the, I think, maybe the coolest team we've run into on Road to Rank so far, so no shame in losing here whatsoever. Yeah, really cool team. Rain is gone, though, right? Like, Flare Blitz still does so much damage here. We have a defense boost on Marowak, so... my only hesitation of Flare Blitzing here is, I mean, they're going to go for another Iron Defense, right? But I think we have to KO the Accelgor, so yeah, I'm just going to Flare Blitz Skarmory and Aqua Jet here. It's just that we're going to take a lot of recoil, and then Skarmory can just roost everything off. And, like, I don't even know if we can 3v1, to be honest. A double up onto the Skarmory slot would have secured us the game. So I think my main misplay in this game, one, obviously just not even knowing the priority of Water Shuriken, which is a really bad mistake. But two, the turn that Indeedee protected and Accelgor switched out, I think like Accelgor very rarely, and okay, Skarmory protects, which I guess is fine. It's a free knockout onto Accelgor. It actually also reveals, oh, does that just KO us? I didn't consider the option of it attacking even there. Wow. I also didn't think Skarmory would have Protect, to be honest. Because now what it can do is just Brave Bird into the Marowak. That was so smart. I could have protected Marowak there, but if I protect and you Roost, I also lose. So it feels really iffy. Although, I won't say the game is over right now, because I get the hat in. We've seen Iron Defense and Protects. I'm assuming Roost and maybe a Steel-type attack. So I actually don't even know, to be honest, if you KO the Marowak, but I don't know if a Flare Blitz is KOing in return. I think it's actually really close. I don't think... I would guess a Steel-type attack and Roost on the Skarmory as the moveset. So I have two plays here, which is Protect, Trick Room, or just Attack. And I think I'm leaning towards just attacking here. Assuming the last one is a Steel-type attack, like Iron Head. You could also just Roost here. Do you ever respect the Marowak? Like, I hard lose here if I Protect and Hatterene just goes down, right? Because then you just Roost. And I'm playing off the assumption... this is really tricky. Like, Protect Trick Room is the obvious play, but for that reason I want to Flare Blitz instead. So let's see what Skarmory has as its attacking move. He's just Roosting. That's actually probably the safest play, which means... I think Poltergeist Trick Room would have won it for us. Yeah. Yeah, because Poltergeist does enough, I don't take the recoil, and now we end up losing. So Skarmory, really impressive showing there. Yeah, because I'm conjecturing like you don't have a way to KO the Marowak there, like no Brave Bird, then I think we definitely should have protected and Trick Room there. That being said, if you have a Steel type attack and my opponent does have, like, if your last one is indeed Iron Head and you KO us, then we also lose, but I gotta say, this was a really impressive showing by Skarmory, a Pokemon that I pretty much didn't even have on my radar up until now. I'm sure, I don't think Dazzle was even a 2-hit KO, and you just keep clicking Roost now. So Protect, Roost, and Iron Defense, none of those are surprising. Big question is what the last attack is. Because if it is something like Body Press, they actually technically didn't have a way to KO the Marowak other than through Recoil. So I definitely should have Poltergeisted last turn, because then all I would need to do is Dazzling Gleam and Flare Blitz. So I think definitely made a lot of mistakes in this game, but you know, this is why using Pokemon that aren't super calming can give you a huge advantage in VGC, because even, you know, experienced players just might not know exactly what they do. And I think, yeah, a bunch of things here just like not... I would say I respected Skarmory enough in bringing the Marowak, but yeah, the Iron Defense threat was, I think, a really big deal. Dazzle actually does so much there too, so yeah. If they attacked there instead of Roosting, we would have had it. I want to see what their last attack is. What they do right now is just protect, heal, and I really do think it's body press if you're running Iron Defense. The protect is what mainly caught me off guard, because most of the Pokemon that run like Iron Defense roost sets, like, which is I guess exclusively Corviknight, doesn't even carry protect. So I think if I were to replay this game, I think the early game plan was fine, even with Water Shuriken getting those prio attacks off. I think the main misplay in this game was just Flare Blitzing instead of Poltergeisting that last turn with Marowak. That was a really bad mistake. Because like Roost is just a super safe play there on their end. Yeah. I'm just gonna Dazzle one more time, but I just really want to see what Skarmory's attack is. Like, I think they're gonna keep Roosting, honestly, but I guess if it's Body Press, we could actually still win this. I'm not gonna give up, because like a couple of crates, like they want to alternate between Roost and Protect, and like Dazzling is doing a ton of damage here, honestly. So they're gonna eventually stall out their PP. But I want to play this out. I think my opponent should have this one, but the fact that they keep Roosting means they don't have Iron Head as the last one. I think it's got to be Body Press. I don't even know if it has it. I'm just assuming it does, because, like, yeah, that would make the most sense. So they stalled out my Trick Room, so we're just going to Trick Room here. You probably just Iron Defense and then start clicking Body Presses is my best guess. Yeah, it was Body Press. So we kind of threw this game away, honestly, by attacking with the Marowak. So that was bad awareness on my end. Yeah, because if we just Poltergeist... They can't hit the Marowak there, so Poltergeist Trick Room secures us the game. So that's a little frustrating on mine. I'm just going to forfeit now, because you can just alternate between... and, like, all you need is, like, 2 more Body Presses to KO us, and you can stall out my Trick Room. So, yeah. Really well played by my opponent. I think, overall, I made some pretty critical errors in this game, but, you know, the good thing about a game like this is you learn a lot, right? Like, got crushed by the... just the early combination, which, yeah, now I know, you know, with priority. Like I said, I'm not even sure how differently I play that, honestly, because Struggle Bug is also just not a move I had on my radar on Accelgors. So, you know, it was honestly, like, losing to a team like that, totally, like, cool, because I think my opponent played really cool. They had a lot of cool sets, right, with the I mean, the Accelgor set in general was really neat. Palossand in general is just a cool Pokemon to go off against. And then Skarmory, which I've barely seen ever. So I think overall I played really poorly with the Marowak and the Azumarill in that last turn of Trick Room. Like I said, a double up onto the Accelgor slot would have been super good, but I didn't go for that. And I think that was actually a really careless mistake because I don't think Accelgor is going to carry Protect there most of the time. The Protect totally caught me off guard. I thought we were safe just by going for Flare Blitz into the Skarmory again. And then we ended up taking that extra damage because of the first crit as well. But ultimately, just a lot of different positions that could be played better. All right, this next team features Luxray. I actually used this team on stream a while ago, and it's a rental team, so I'll link in the description below if you want to try this team out. It's pretty interesting. So one of the ways you could beat Psychic Spam, I guess, is like Tyranitar and Sylveon as a lead, which I think I have to respect a little bit. The goal should be to set up Trick Room. Like, Hatterene under Trick Room looks really good here, right? Hatterene under Trick Room, but how do I beat... what's your anti-Trick Room lead here? I think it's Tyranitar and Sylveon. If I want to beat Tyranitar and Sylveon, I think leading, like, Porygon is fine. I'm not even sure. I guess you could Max Darkness Hyper Voice. So I'm thinking, like, Porygon Rillaboom. But then I want Hat Entity in the back, but, like, Marowak also looks good here. I don't know. Azumarill's tempting as well. I might actually go Porygon Marowak. And this seems maybe a little silly, but the idea behind Marowak is that, like, I'm bringing something that just puts on so much offensive pressure immediately, like, you kind of have to respect it, right? Although I guess if I'm expecting my opponent to lead Tyranitar Sylveon, the big question is basically whether, like, Max Darkness plus Hyper Voice picks up the knockout onto Porygon. Because you get the Spadef drop. I'm leaning to say no. Porygon's just such a bulky Pokemon, but if it's Spec Sylveon, maybe. Either way, that last game was such a doozy. It was really cool. The lighting is flickering a bunch, so I apologize for that. Yeah, it is Tyranitar Sylveon. Okay. I guess my original idea of Rillaboom would have been okay here. Let's see. Get an attack boost. Yeah, I'm leaning towards... I mean, Trick Room, just maxing Marowak seems alright. Unless you Max Darkness Hyper Voice the Marowak, right? Because here, like, Marowak protecting is super obvious. I kind of want to do it, though, because if we get it correctly, we just win. The big question is whether, once again, Max Darkness Hyper Voice KOs the Porygon. I might just max an attack, honestly, as well. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to max some Phantasm into Sylveon, which should one-shot it. So Tyranitar's going to max. Here's the thing. Even if Marowak goes down, if I get Trick Room up, I actually still think I'm in an okay spot. But maybe I'm overestimating that ability there. Either way, though, I think because I was expecting T-Tar Sylveon, Rillaboom was at least a safer answer, because Rillaboom always has a free fake out until a Sylveon, and, like, Sylveon's almost never going to max. If you commit the max, then, well, you've maxed Sylveon, right? Which doesn't feel super good. So the idea behind this play is that, like, you have to really respect the Protect Trick Room play. Maybe my opponent just goes Max Darkness into Marowak and Hyper Voice anyway, though. Because they might think, oh, I can't even KO the Porygon. But if we get Trick Room up and Marowak doesn't faint this turn, I think we win the game immediately. So, yeah. Oh. Okay. Self-weakness policy activation. That makes sense. However, I don't even know if you KO Porygon right now, even with that. If you're targeting Porygon. It is Max Knuckle. Okay, so Marowak at least escapes the turn, which is good. Yeah, Porygon survives. Yeah, that should just be game, honestly. I mean, this is why Porygon is now considered a solid Trick Room user. Especially because, like, if you think about some of the common threats in the metagame, you have, like, Tyranitar, Dusclops, both of those... Or, sorry, Tyranitar and Dragapult. Those can, like, one-shot a Dusclops with Weakness Policy or Life Orb or Helping Hand support, right? So this Porygon, even after Tyranitar gets the Weakness Policy off, still is able to survive. So, yeah, perfect. However, once again, this is kind of a read-based turn one, right? Like, I don't think my opponent really has to respect, like, me protecting Marowak and Porygon just Trick Rooming. And that might have been safer at the end of the day because you saw Porygon was able to even take the +2 Max Knuckle. So, I don't know, maybe that was actually the correct play to make. But, yeah. Alright, Urshifu comes out, though. I mean, it's just really tough to win now, I think, especially because I've already gotten that defense drop onto the Tyranitar. Is it Dark Urshifu? No, it's fighting as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly content just Psychicing into the Urshifu now and just going for Max Quake after getting the Spadef drop on, or the defense drop on Tyranitar. I might even lose both Pokemon this turn. Like, there might be Aqua Jet coming out. Tyranitar max guards, but that's fine. We'll see if Urshifu can one-shot us. Like, the thing is, I don't really care about Tyranitar protecting itself too much. I guess Marowak is actually my only real answer against it, so maybe I should respect it a little bit more. Psychic does almost 50%. Just gonna be Surging Strikes. Yeah. Should survive that, though. The only question is whether, I guess, an Aqua Jet KOs us after this, plus Sand. I don't think it does. It's close, though. Well, it actually might be. No, I don't think it will. This Marowak's pretty bulky. So nice play by my opponent. I mean, we could have just sealed up the game instantly by targeting Urshifu there, but I didn't really mind protecting there. Psychic looks like it's a 2-hit KO after Sand. I'm pretty sure that's AV Urshifu, but either way, I'm content to just Psychic and Quake again here. Even if the Tyranitar... I mean, Aqua Jet's not KOing us unless it crits, because it's not Life Orb Urshifu. And I need damage onto the Tyranitar. Like, I just need one big hit from it, because after I get that hit, then Hatterene can just go for Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, and a single Dazzling Gleam will KO after max is over, but just need one more big chip onto it. So, as long as we don't get Aqua Jetted here, or crit by Aqua Jet, I think we should be fine, because I'm assuming we survive a regular Aqua Jet. I'm just still thinking about my record against Palossand. I think it's got to be 0-2 or 0-3 on Road to Rank now. And that just one-shots Tyranitar after the defense drop, which is beautiful to see. Nice. Okay. So, even if we don't KO the Urshifu here, it should be fainting from Sand. If not this turn, then certainly in the next turn. And then we should be good. Okay. And this is where Psychic Porygon actually finally comes up huge, right? Like, it's on this team because there's obviously terrain with Hat in the NDD. But, yeah, even just having a regular super effective attack against Urshifu here is really nice. So, Marowak goes down, but that's fine. I think Tyranitar was by far the biggest threat from our opponent's side. With multiple turns of Trick Room left, this is just a free switch in now into my Hat, and I can just switch Porygon out into NDD, set up terrain, and there's no way for my opponent to basically stop this combination right now, as Urshifu hangs on with what looks like 1 to 2 HP. But by switching in Hat, like, I just have Expanding Force Pressure immediately into this next turn. I still have Trick Room up, so I can just switch Porygon out into NDD. It's going to be Luxray as the last one. So Luxray is pretty interesting. You know, like I said, we tried this team out on stream. I honestly forgot about a lot of the sets, but you have Guts. You're able to do a fair amount of damage after protecting. Flame Orb comes up, but no, all I'm going to do is just switch out now and Expanding Force, and then just follow me Expanding Force the next turn. Like I said, I didn't think my opponent had great answers to Expanding Force outside of Tyranitar, which is why I wanted to prioritize putting on pressure against Tyranitar turn 1. That being said, once again, I don't know if what I led was really the best lead, because if my opponent calls turn 1 correctly and we lose Marowak, we probably actually lose the game, because I don't have much offense coming out from the Porygon. So, if I were to replay this, because I even called my opponent's lead, I don't think I brought the best answer against it. I probably would go with, like, Rillaboom instead. I think that's the change I would make. Rillaboom, Porygon, Marowak, and maybe just NDD in the back. The only problem with that mode and why I ended up deciding against it is just because then I don't get to take advantage of using Expanding Force spam, right? Which is super good. I'm still thinking about that first game, though. It was such a misplay to have gone for that Flare Blitz instead of Poltergeist. Poltergeist would have just won us the game instantly, because then Flare Blitz Dazzle KOs under Trick Room. So that was me just, like, not having great awareness against a Pokemon that I haven't really gone up against too much. And it's like, yeah, Skarmory with Body Press there is just so obvious. Otherwise, like, Iron Defense isn't nearly as strong, so... yeah, definitely just a pretty bad misplay on my end, but, you know, I think it's good to show these mistakes, too, because this is exactly how you improve as a player. Now, if I go up against Skarmory, that's pretty much the set I'm always going to be expecting, and like I said, there were a lot of different plays we could have made in that game, so even though it's, like, frustrating to lose in the game, I think it's really valuable to point out the, you know, spots where you could have basically improved in. So, yeah. We've only played 2 games today, so I'm going to play a third. You know, I've always asked what time length people kind of appreciate for videos, and it seems like more people appreciate, you know, more content. You obviously could choose not to watch the last game if you don't want to, but we'll play a third match here, because why not? It's our last time with the team anyway, so, yeah. And, yeah, main takeaways, I think, in general, and I keep talking about the first game because I think, like, learning from your losses is just super, super important. And for a lot of the times, you know, when we go up against other people in the series, we're going up against strategies or teams that I can, like, immediately predict. But in that case, it was just I mean, the Palossand stuff, I even knew it was coming, but I didn't know about the priority from Water Shuriken. So that alone was like a mechanic, thing that I could learn from. And then just, figuring out what Skarmory does, even though it's pretty intuitive, I think it's still valuable as well. This next team is a really interesting take on Rain. There's a Klefki, so that's often used for maybe screens or Thunder Wave pressure, which is pretty scary, as well as Urshifu. So the only great Psychic Resist is that Klefki. I would not be too surprised to see that come out as a lead, to be honest. Klefki Urshifu is really interesting. I think Marowak is definitely going to come out. What's tricky here is that I kind of want to bring all my Pokemon, right? Like, Azumarill does really well offensively, actually, against everything my opponent wants to max. Oh, also there's Entity Mail, which I just noticed, which I think is definitely going to be in prison stuff. So because of the Entity Mail, I think we definitely lead Rillaboom, just to... Like, I think my opponent's absolutely leading with that. The only question is what they're pairing it with, right? Part of me wants to go Indeedee, Hatterene, Azumarill, and I want to bring Porygon just because like it gives me another Trick Room option. Because like Azumarill in their Trick Room looks excellent here, but if I don't bring in Marowak, my answer against the Klefki becomes a little bit more shady. However, I think it's probably more important to ensure that we actually get Trick Room up in this game, so I'm gonna go with Porygon. Anytime you see an Indeedee Mail in Team Preview, immediately assume Imprison. It's similar to Chandeler's, previously, where, like, there are not that many great Pokemon that get access to Imprison, so, like, if I see a Chandeler or Indeedee Mail, or even Alakazam, immediately I'm like, okay, I have to at least respect Imprison on turn 1. So let's see. It is going to be, yep, Indeedee and Urshifu, actually, okay. Totally fine by me, especially based off... I mean, yeah, okay, so we're faster, so actually this is excellent, right? Because, like, I could just fake out into the Indeedee right now to even block your Imprison and just set up Trick Room immediately. Yeah. I think that's honestly our best course of action. I don't really care what Urshifu does here. The only thing I'm worried about is, like, an Iron Head flinch onto the Hatterene. That's my one fear, but I think we go fake out Trick Room here. If we don't flinch, we're in a very, very good spot going into subsequent turns. So, yeah, anytime you see Indeedee Mail, just, like, basically figure out your best lead against it, because I think it's almost always going to come out as a lead against you if you're running hard Trick Room. So, Urshifu maxes, which I actually would prefer to see. That means no Iron Head flinch. What they might be going for is max Steel Spike onto the Hatterene, but of course we have the Focus Sash, so we were going to survive with that. Which is why I think Focus Sash is such a key item on Hatterene now. Obviously, in the beginning of the format, people were running, like, Life Orb or Babiri Berry, but in this metagame currently, I think Sash is probably the best item for it. Okay, so we get Fake Out off. It's going to actually do a sizable amount too. And there's Steel Spike. Perfect. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what we want to see. Yeah, I think it would have been better for my opponent to just go for the Iron Head flinch there. Because, most Indeedees, or most Hatterenes have Sashes nowadays. So it's like if you get the flinch, at least you actually probably just, like, not win the game off that, but you're in such a good spot. Because then the next turn, like, I just have no offense whatsoever. And I'm not going to be able to get a Trick Room. So now I'm like, I wish I had Marowak instead of the Porygon, but whatever. I can't really complain about that. Like I said, I felt like a Azumarill under Trick Room was my best way to win this matchup. So, no regrets there. Okay. So it's Dark Urshifu, so obviously I'm going to go for Dazzling Gleam here. Question is what I want to do with the Rillaboom. I think it's best to just go for Knockoff and Dazzle here. I don't really care if this Urshifu gets another attack off. Yep, they're going to Max Guard too, so it should just be a free knockout onto the Indeedee. And we actually really need to KO the Indeedee there, because if we, like, choose not to target it, and they do have Trick Room, which they should most of the time, then they can just reverse their Trick Room, which is really bad. Okay, so that's out of the way. Let's see what item they had. Focus Sash, makes sense. Yeah. So I think Indeedee Males a lot of players are using as Imprison bait, but that's like part of the reason why I actually don't really like it. It's just so obvious when you see it in Team Preview, like what it's designed to do. So unless you like have a clever way to really utilize it, I don't know. I think it's, sorry, I shouldn't say that it doesn't work at all, because I think certainly against like maybe newer players who just don't respect it in Team Preview. For example, if I lead Hatterene Indeedee, which is like the go-to lead often for a lot of players, you can just lose immediately, which is why leading with hard Trick Room is so important. You have to really identify what the potential counters to you are. Right, they have Politoed, which honestly doesn't really scare me at all. To be honest, I think like your play here is to maybe go for a double protect. Like I don't even care if Urshifu gets another attack off, so I'm just gonna Dazzling Gleam and Grassy Glide here. Because if I'm my opponent, I'm thinking, okay, my play is to go for the double protect with Urshifu, Scald to KO the hat. I don't know if Dazzling Gleam is honestly a one-hit KO onto the Urshifu. Part of me thinks it is because of the 4X, super effective, honestly. Like, that's the problem with Urshifu, both Dark and Water, right? Okay, so they end up protecting with Politoed, which is smart. You know, I thought about going for the Glide here onto the Urshifu, but I was like, whatever. Even if Urshifu survives, like, I get a free switch into Azumarill now. And Terrain is still up, so I can just click Grassy Glide on whatever Pokemon I want to. And that is just a 1-hit KO, so yeah, that was actually... the safest play was actually just to target both Pokemon there. Or sorry, target the Politoed. So, yeah. You know, the dynamic of this matchup changes substantially if I don't lead the hat plus the Inity, or sorry, Inity specifically, if I lead Inity, because then Rillaboom isn't able to get the Fake Out off. So, really, really important, basically, to respect the leads here. I don't even need a max, honestly. I can just Grassy Glide and Dazzling Gleam. Yeah. With the Salt Vest on the Rillaboom as well, I think we should be good. So this is a good demonstration in basically how to play around Imprison, which I think is actually really important because, like I said, I personally don't like it as like a counter specifically against, say, hard Trick Room teams, because how I play this game is basically exactly how you can get around it. So keep that in mind if you're using NDD Mail. Like, it's still good to have in Team Preview, maybe just to scare your opponent off, right? Because one thing that NDD does is it basically forces me not to lead with my NDD. And by doing that, you know, like you think, okay, what's my opponent's best counter to me? Probably Rillaboom plus Hat. So then you go back to the drawing board on my opponent's team, and one way you can counter the Rillaboom plus the Hat is potential, just like 2 Pokemon that threaten the Hat immediately with offense, right? So keep the NDD in the back, for example, lead the Urshifu. You want to maybe have 2 Pokemon and then just Dynamax the more unorthodox Pokemon to potentially snipe the Hatterene, because I have the Focus Sash on that. Bunch of ways maybe my opponent could have played that, but either way, I think you definitely can't fault them for leading NDD Mail, and so this is just kind of like the mind games of playing against Imprison and what you can do if you are up against it. Because like I said, if you lead incorrectly against it and they Imprison you turn 1, you are in such a bad spot, so you have to basically figure out a way around it, whether it be Rillaboom plus Hat, Rillaboom plus Porygon, or maybe some other combination of Pokemon. Just don't get careless and, you know, mindlessly lead the classic Injury Hat combination, because if you do, yeah, it's just not going to go super well. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. A lot of fun games. That first one was honestly quite the interesting match. Definitely one of the most memorable matches I can remember on Road to Rank. So even though we took the L there, I think a lot of good takeaways from it. And definitely didn't play super well, but my opponent also just brought some really cool Pokemon and played to their strats. So shout outs to them. I think I'll definitely be a lot more prepared to go up against that next time around, but it was fun to play against for sure. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like as always if you enjoyed. Thanks to Federico for the team. Feel free to try out the team yourselves. Links are in the description below for a rental code and a paste. And I'll see you guys soon. All right. Peace.